know yourself enough to know what your values are, do some work around figuring out what you're good at, what your strengths are, etc., and hold on to that stuff, then work hard, and you'll figure the other stuff out. My name's Kim Wylie. I am the Global Director of People Development and Change Management at a very cool company called Farfetch. Farfetch is a tech platform for the luxury fashion industry. We've got about 5,500 people globally in 13 different countries. And I look after two different teams. The change management team, which is really about helping our employees with our people, processes and strategy, and embedding things like how we do performance management, how we hire people, etc. And then the second team, which is actually a slightly larger team, is people development, and that's helping people to develop their skills relating to their current roles, but also to help them build skills and capabilities that they might need for future jobs. I think for me, the piece that really stands out for Farfetch is our values as a company and the culture, which is really led from our founder, Jose, who's obviously hugely ambitious and very commercial, but also very creative and leads with a very human-centric leadership, and is very passionate about the fact that it's the people that make the business successful. So yeah, it's incredible, and just going through this sort of hyper growth phase and being part of the story, yeah, it's a real privilege. Once I got to London, I managed to get a job being a digital trainer for a group of advertising agencies, which was amazing. And another sort of big turning point when I reflect back, one of the products at that point I had to train the agency staff on was Google AdWords. So I got sent off to the Google office to learn about this product. And I went into the Google office, and like this girl from New Zealand, honestly never seen anything like it. I was just like, this is the coolest office I've ever been to. I need to get a job here. So that's what I set about doing. And it's a combination of luck, of course, hard work, putting the hours in, getting the CV looking super smart. And yeah, I got a job at Google, and I spent 12 very happy, very hardworking, but happy years there. And during those 12 years, I think I had 8 different jobs, different functions. And again, just to reflect back on this, just being open to conversations and learning about, I just made it my business to learn about what everyone else is doing. And just, you can uncover really interesting jobs and things that people are doing. And that's how I ended up navigating around and being offered different jobs, is just from the curiosity and the openness to try different things. And then in 2018, Farfetch approached me for the role that I'm in now. I don't like to think of these sorts of things as mistakes, because it's all learning. And actually, if you stay in, like one of the biggest sort of reflections over my career, if you stay in the comfort zone, nothing happens. The magic only happens when you step outside of the comfort zone. So I guess to your point around, have I had major dips? Loads of them, but they've often been around me being brave to take on something new and then going, oh shit, there's no way I can do this. What have I done? I've absolutely, I've blown it. My career's over. All of the, you make mistakes. You just the insecurities are running rings around you. That still happened. That still happens now, even, global director or not. And, this is the sort of conversations I had even today with a group of our high-performing, high-potential senior leaders. And we're talking about this stuff. That feeling of insecurity and not wanting to make mistakes, it's not going to go away, right? You have to manage it, and you have to harness it, and you have to reframe it in your mind that this is how I'm going to learn some stuff. Because if you just stay in that zone, I'd probably still be working in the call center, which maybe would be fine and I could potentially be happy, but I'm glad I didn't. The nerves that we feel and the stress and the adrenaline that's racing around in our bodies when we're going through these moments of okay, I'm going to do the thing. The body perceives kind of stress and excitement in the same way. So the cortisol and the adrenaline, etc. If you're thinking, oh my God, I'm really stressed, I'm really anxious, you reframe that, I'm really excited, I can't wait to see what happens. The body actually is processing things in the same way. It's how we think about it in our head that can help us reframe it. So another thing I, often talking with the team and for myself, as well, when I'm feeling nervous about something or anxious about something, I'm feeling excited. This is my body showing me that I'm excited and I'm primed and I'm ready, because actually this is, the adrenaline that's getting you ready to perform at your best. So if you can frame it in that way, rather than going, oh my God, I'm going to be overwhelmed with anxiety, and then you spin your brain off into that downwards cycle, it can be the same experience, just how you talk to yourself about it. The reality is, I think in a work environment, don't just be a clone, because you're not then bringing anything new that other people haven't already brought or added. Like, think about what you can bring based on your history and your story. And one of the things I always say to my team is, like, please speak up and contribute, especially when you've got a different opinion than what everyone else is saying. That's where you're adding more value than when you've got a different opinion to what everyone else is saying. That's where you are really contributing. If you just say what everyone else is saying, then you're not necessarily as valuable, right? Because someone else is already doing that. But it takes a bit of courage, and it takes doing it a couple of times and going, and it feels really uncomfortable, because you feel like, particularly I think when you go through your teenage years and everyone wants to try and look the same and dress the same, and because that's part of the fitting in thing, and actually you got to step out of that a little bit, I think, to really have a rich and rewarding career and really add a lot of impact. It's about, for an example, personal example, I enjoy casual chit chat, making terrible jokes, having a laugh, just a bit of banter and fun, and that's something that I enjoy. And when I was I'm a manager, managers don't do that stuff. So I'm I would no joking about, no, you've got to be serious, you've got to be just talk about the work stuff. And it's a small example, but that is who I am. That's how I show up. So maybe one of the things I would say is how do you show up with your friends and your family when you're at your most relaxed? How would you describe yourself? You're at your most relaxed in your comfort zone, and think about how you could bring, and maybe it's not, the way that you talk to your friends and your family might be slightly different because you're talking about different stuff, but the way you feel and how you want to engage, I think about how you can do that in a work environment, not hiding the things that you do outside of work. If you've got passions for sports and hobbies and things like that, talk about them. That's part of who you are. Talk about your stories. Talk about, the journey that you've taken in order to get to this point. Don't be afraid of your own story and telling your own story, because that will be hugely inspirational to people around you. Don't hide away from the stuff that is your sort of truth. Looking for opportunities to just have conversations with people that maybe you wouldn't normally have a conversation with, and just start practicing I feel really uncomfortable, I don't know this person, it's hard to know what the situation would be if it's at university or in people's weekend lives, but sport, whatever, but just, or your friends' parents, going up and introducing yourself and just practicing putting yourself out of the comfort zone a little bit. That would be in a reasonably safe environment. The worst that can happen is someone doesn't talk to you, and life does not change. But just practice looking for those moments, I think, where you can go, I'm going to do something that scares me, and then you'll do it and you'll realize you're still fine. No one died because of a conversation, someone not engaging in a conversation. It's a bit of kind of practicing the edging out of the comfort zone, because it does become easier over time, and the more you do it, sometimes it doesn't necessarily get less scary, but you've got more evidence to say that it's probably going to be okay, even if the worst happens. Be brave, stepping out of your comfort zone, which is terrifying. But the reality is, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Proactively look for the opportunities to be a bit scared and to do things that scare you. Don't wait for them to come to you. Be a bit proactive, and some of the things we were talking about, like introducing yourself to people, etc. Because it's a muscle and you practice and it becomes easier. The other thing I wanted to just reiterate is do your best to get to know yourself and who you are and what you stand for. And there's, you can look at lists of values and behaviors and things online and just start getting a sense of, this is the stuff that I've got and this is who I am. Because I think the reality is the world is very uncertain. It's going to be increasingly uncertain. We've got to work out the things that we can all, and this is for all of us, that we can anchor ourselves onto. I know who I am. I know my values. I know what I stand for. I know that I'm good at some of this stuff.